From old trains to paint by numbers, sometimes nostalgia is like comfort food during these trying times. We'll take a look. Plus, we'll have some fun with an audition for a police canine unit and celebrate the amazing efforts by great people and programs all across our state to get us back on track on this edition of Connected Colorado. We're here at the Colorado Railroad Museum in Golden, where they're keeping history alive and providing some much needed fun and respite during these times. We'll show you much more of this great museum as we go, but first, earlier this summer, we caught up with Broomfield Pals, working to connect volunteers with seniors. How are you?
Hello. Broomfield Pals, it's an opportunity to connect people who live in the Broomfield community. It's a volunteer program and help if there are certain projects that people would need help with, or just a way to connect, especially during this time.
I have something for you, young ladies, so you'll be ready for the 4th of July.
It's been such a delight to get to know this family and have children around. We look forward to their visits. My 95-year-old mother is with me this winter, spring, and into summer now because of the pandemic, and we've needed some help.
We brought some sidewalk chalk, so writing messages. And I know Linda has sent us a couple cards, which has been really nice. So just to get to know each other a little better and make connections during this time.
This is my pal, Rebecca. She makes contact with me like once a week. As an older person, I'm in a self-quarantine. It's really nice to just get to know somebody.
In a time of physical distancing, it's more important than ever that we're reaching out to our community and making social connections and making sure we're all hanging in there together.
So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I do. I really do.
Oh, that's splendid, kids. Thank you so much. That plant will be grateful.
It makes me feel good to help do work for others, and then the next time I come back, I get to see what I've helped with.
Nice to know that you're making someone's life better by doing something like this.
Broomfield is a great community. I just think it's wonderful that Broomfield is looking at the senior community and providing Broomfield Pals.
I didn't realize how much I needed to talk to someone in the community too, and so this relationship has been really, really great for me to have someone to call every week and check in on, but you're checking in on me too. So thank you for your support.
Yeah, I think it says a lot. I think it's just another facet of this wonderful community of providing opportunities to volunteer for those who want to give back, and also, the opportunity for people to receive help who need help. So I think it's a wonderful program, and, I encourage more people to get involved if they can.
It is so great to see those connections being formed. We are at the Colorado Railroad Museum, joined by Paul Hammond. Thanks for having us.
We are so glad you're here.
I'm glad you guys are open. Things are back in action.
Absolutely. We actually reopened back at the beginning of June.
That's awesome.
And because we're largely an outdoor attraction, we have been finding that people are finding us as a place that they can simply come, spend time with family, and we've been getting great comments from guests about how grateful they are that there's a place to take the family.
Yeah, it's a special place. How long have you guys been here?
The museum started in 1959, so we're actually in our 61st year of operations here in Golden.
What are some of the features you have?
Well, when you come here to visit, of course, the first feature that most people want to know is, are the trains running today?
Yeah.
Always make sure you check before you come out, because we do run them sometimes as much as 4 days a week, other times 1 day during the week. We also have a garden railway layout from the Denver Garden Railway Society that's very popular when folks are out running it. We have HO scale model railroad from the Denver HO Model Railroad Club that's very popular. We have changing exhibits, but really it's the trains themselves. We always have about a half a dozen that you can climb aboard, and people love to be able to get up inside, up close and personal, and take a look at some of this. Sometimes it's 1900s decor, other times it's 1880s elegance. We've got a little bit of everything.
We've got a little train horn
We've
happening.
got trains right here in the Valley of Coors, as I call it.
The Valley of Coors, yeah. So this guy behind us is epic. 491.
Yes. Basically, there were just a group of these locomotives that were built for the Denver and Rio Grande. They were the largest narrow gauge locomotives that ever ran here in Colorado. This one's a runner, and we use it every year to pull several trains, as well as it's always part of our Polar Express train ride.
Yes, I'm so excited. We're going to talk about that coming up because I've been there in my pajamas.
I've been there in my bathrobe.
I've done, yes. It sounds weird to say that, but yeah, we're going to talk about that in just a sec. And you have a real functioning turntable?
Absolutely. The only way you can get into this building
Really?
is with the turntable. I call it the Lazy Susan for trains. You literally just pull up, get your locomotive or railroad car onto it. Ours is Armstrong powered.
You have to
so
push it?
We actually have to push it. But think of scientific principles of balance and leverage. And we put those principles to work here every day. We can put something like the 491 on this turntable, get the locomotive perfectly balanced on the center bearing, and one person can push that locomotive around.
Oh my gosh. Get them safe in the garage.
Get it safe in the garage.
It's, you know, everything's kind of stripped down here to kind of a simpler way of life and just celebrating the history. I think that's probably something that resonates with people right now with all this chaos going on.
Our whole mission is to preserve this heritage. Think about Colorado without the railroad.
Yeah.
And you end up with a state with all these geographical barriers. And if there had not been a technology that allowed us to travel, to ship goods, my gosh, would it be a different place today? And we're here to preserve that and to share it.
So excited to learn more about Polar Express, what you guys have done with it. Thank you so much for having us.
It's our pleasure.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Paul. Rob Kramer is here to tell us about the most amazing event that you guys have coming up during the holidays, Polar Express. Been there, done it, brought my kids, and it sounds like it's just gotten even more amazing over the years.
Well, we're very proud of our Polar Express train ride. We feel like we have maybe the most interactive Polar Express experience anywhere in the country because we have mined just about every scene from the movie that we can. We hire over 50 actors every year from the Denver Actors Guild, and they come out here and they recreate the movie, and it's an immersive experience so that patrons move with the crowd through the scenes, and so they're part of the action.
You're in the train car while they're doing the hot chocolate dance.
Yes.
And you get hot chocolate at your table.
You do. Well, this year, because of COVID, we're doing a few things slightly differently. And so the hot chocolate won't be served on the train. We have this beautiful indoor-outdoor pavilion that will be enclosed and decorated via the Polar Express experience, and they'll be served there. But we have our chefs and our conductors doing an amazing song and dance while that service is happening.
You hire these people to come in and perform.
Absolutely. Well, and most of them come back every year. It's a great gig for them as well, because there's nothing more moving than being part of that Christmas spirit.
No,
and
I know.
Polar Express is an amazing experience.
It is, and I think for adults, I mean, I may have enjoyed it more than my kids, to tell you the truth.
Well, we get that every year. My first year here, I was one of the conductors on the train, and I got lots of compliments from grandparents that said this was the best train ride we've ever been a part of, and it was so moving.
Yes.
And when the kids started singing, they had tears in their eyes. So it's a fun time.
Hot chocolate. I know it. All right, thank you so much. I'm excited for people to come out and check it out if they haven't seen it before. It is so cool.
Thank you for being here.
And from the nostalgia of trains to paint by numbers, one City of Thornton employee fills her home and office with some of these fun little treasures from the past.
There's people that have come by and said that they're in awe. It's my office and I needed something to keep me entertained during the day. I came across one about 1.5 years ago, and I had this feeling of nostalgia run through me. They're all paint by numbers, and they're all vintage. Paint by numbers is a craze that started back in the 50s, and it was for people that didn't feel like they could paint. And so they were given a cardboard that had numbers on it, and those numbers corresponded to paints. And in the end, you had a finished product, and there's a lot of people that did them very well. A husband and a wife did these in 1964, I think it was. So the husband did one and signed it to his wife, and the wife did the other and signed it to her husband. And then these two over here have love letters on the back. Sweetheart, as I ride the wings of the morning, your smile cools my soul like the summer's breeze that dances from the evergreen trees. Love always, your own Rachel Lee. Unfortunately, they are things that people tend to discard. I feel like I'm saving things from ending up in the trash, and that's important to me.
Early in our country's history, the telegraph made communications possible across great distances. It really helped revolutionize the world. Well, we've come a long way since then, all the way up to 5G, the next generation of cellular service.
We've probably all heard about 5G, the next generation of cellular service. Some carriers tout speeds 25 times faster than what we have today. 5G promises to be more reliable and have better connectivity, higher quality, and lower latency or lag time than the current technology.
It will enable much quicker connectivity for those types of cloud-based applications. You'll have instant access virtually.
But how much faster do we need for our cell phones? 5G will be for a lot more than phones. For instance, downloading movies that took more than 5 minutes will download in seconds. The new technology will help with the current needs for e-learning and work from home and much more.
What is predicted is that 5G is going to just change the way you engage with social media, public safety. Is there a wreck ahead? Will you get that information quicker? 5G will enable many kinds of devices, such as robots, drones, security cameras, cars, automated autonomous vehicles. The information my kids would die without are video games and, online gaming. They'll have real-time interactive, no lag, no latency in those engagements. So it changes how we engage in sports, how we view sports or shopping. It's basically going to touch anything and everything that we do with our smartphones, our smart devices. Another field that they really think that will benefit from this is augmented reality or virtual surgery. Remote areas that don't have doctors right now, they could have access to a surgeon that's hundreds of miles away for a life-saving treatment. What we're hearing is that basically you would have a surgeon in another part of the country controlling the actual devices that did the surgery. So it would almost be like they were remote piloting a drone or just guiding a surgeon that is there potentially. That's probably more near term. The other is probably more longer term, where you've got a device that can be that precise.
So what is 5G's impact to communities?
Building the 5G network to support all that is going to be a monumental infrastructure project. It's going to have some substantial impacts on our economy.
According to a report by a consulting firm, Accenture, they expect approximately 2 million jobs and $420 billion in annual GDP from 5G.
We're not talking about a small thing here. This is one of those shifts that we will see. Not tomorrow, though. It's not like a light switch. We can't turn it on and off. It will take time to roll out this infrastructure.
And there are other impacts as well. Some people have concerns.
Radio frequency electromagnetic radiation is embedded in so many of the devices, whether it's in our homes, our offices, our phones, things that have become ubiquitous in life. Sorting out one piece of all of this exposure is really a bit of a daunting challenge for the epidemiologist.
5G operates differently than earlier versions of cellular services. It uses multiple radio frequencies, including those in the higher bands. Because the waves are high frequency, they don't travel as far, and physical objects get in the way. Now, instead of a few very large cell towers with 5G, there will be many more smaller poles needed to get coverage. And as 5G is installed, there will be some disruptions to neighborhoods as they install the fiber connections. Some people have been concerned about the health aspects, but the jury is still out on 5G. The effects of 5G have not been very well studied yet.
Clearly we don't have human epidemiological studies because this is not out in the marketplace, and we're not probably ever going to have epidemiological studies focused specifically on 5G. Even if somebody set out to do a large enough animal study now, it would take years to have the results. I'm making an analogy to tobacco smoking and lung cancer. If you go back to the 30s, we began to suspect that there was an epidemic of lung cancer. Rates were going like that. Doctors were seeing more. Some speculated that maybe it was smoking. But Camel became the first mass-marketed cigarette in 1913, and it wasn't until 1950 that we really had the first definitive studies on smoking and lung cancer. It'd certainly be good if we had the right research in place to know if we're going to potentially face health consequences in the future.
With all the various aspects of 5G, consumer demand for better, faster cellular service has increased, and technology continues to meet the demand.
But it sure is going to satisfy the consumer's demand. You've got this exponential growth in the number of mobile devices and devices that rely on interfacing with the internet. And those applications require higher speed, and the existing infrastructure can't support it. So it's becoming necessary, it's becoming an expectation that access, that ability to have a much more robust and virtual, if you will, experience is a lot of what consumers are demanding.
Also, the state of Colorado's broadband office needs your help. You can take a speed test for your current broadband on the state's website. This will help the office populate bandwidth speed and broadband data. Then take a few moments and tell them how broadband has impacted your life and changed the way you've been able to manage during this time of COVID.
So this is one of the more unique train cars at the museum, the Galloping Goose. This train was a great connection for Durango during the Depression era. This train was cheaper to operate than the big train cars during those tough times. And in 2020, Durango is still finding ways to communicate with people. You know, with the onset of COVID-19 and the need for more remote learning, it's really resulted in a greater awareness of the digital divide, especially in rural Colorado communities. Recently, some organizations came together to bridge that divide.
The digital divide has been happening, but COVID really launched it fiercely and fastly. Each family today is receiving a desktop and monitor, the keyboard, a Wi-Fi adapter, a web camera. I think really the only thing they need to do their virtual learning is a pair of headsets. Alpine Bank had 400 plus computers that we needed to safely and securely get rid of. So we met PCs for People, and we're really felt good about giving them our 400 plus computers.
PCs for People is a social enterprise that makes sure that nobody that cannot afford a computer will have a computer at home. We offer computers and internet for a really low cost.
The Boys and Girls Club got involved in this project because we were aware of club members who were home when the schools had to close, and they were working on learning fractions and math and other subject areas from a textbook, and we felt like there has to be a better way to help these kids so they don't fall behind.
When we switched to the online learning environment in March, we had about 600 to 700 students that either had requested a Chromebook or technology that they could use, or needed paper materials that they could complete their learning process. Out of a student population of about 4,300 students, I would surmise that we've got about 1,000 students that definitely could take advantage of technology.
Thanks a lot. I'm not planning on sending my kids back to school, and we're going to do homeschool, so this is going to help us with that.
Those computers that they might go to the landfill, instead of going to the landfill, they go back to the community, getting a full cycle.
For our Denver office, last year we brought in around 12,000 usable computers as an entire company. We brought in somewhere around 90,000 last year. We wipe all the information from the hard drives, and we provide a report out to businesses that give that information audit that so many businesses need for their cybersecurity liability. And then after that, we go to work on refurbishing the computers and getting them back out into the community.
We picked up the phone and we had so many companies here in town say, yes, let me help. And they donated to make it possible for families then to buy their computers for $20.
We try to once a month do one event like this where we come to a community and give away. Today, for example, is 400 computers to the community here in Durango.
For 400 kids to get a computer is outstanding in our town. It's just fabulous.
So the goose is on the turntable. We heard earlier that all you have to do is push it by hand. Al's here to help me. 50 tons? This is the only way that you can turn a train car, correct?
Yep.
That is something else. Look at that.
Yeah, this is 50 tons you're turning around.
That's crazy. How can you push it? And look at that. It's so easy. We know masks are part of our lives and critical to our recovery. Now, the Colorado Railroad Museum has a retired seamstress who made all the masks for the staff. You guys look good. I like this look. But even early on, many seamstresses have been working day and night threading the needle to keep our community covered.
I am Jessica Kim. I am 83 years old.
When I got here, 1976. So then she started her business. I think in 80s, 1984. I didn't realize this, but she never wants to throw anything away. I just went downstairs because I remember that we store a bunch of stuff for my mom. And the first cloth that I pulled out was exactly 9 inches. That was the guideline. So I just started making it, and then first one I made took me forever. My mom can sew about 100 a day, whereas I can probably sew about 5 a day. But since then, she kind of taught me how to do it so you can be more efficient. I asked my mom how she wanted this to be distributed, and she told me to leave it up to City Councilwoman Crystal.
Further east from Peoria.
She said she would be glad to take it and then make sure that they get good use out of them.
I am very happy that I can help others by making masks. I appreciate it.
Thanks to all who are helping keeping us safe. Artistic endeavors also bring color into our lives, like this very cool scale model railroad exhibit by the Denver HO Club. There's also a new exhibit in Denver City Park called Color Field.
I was really drawn to this space just because of the shapes of the seed beds. I really wanted to fill those beds with color, and Josh kind of, with his background, added a different, more immersive, interactive kind of layer with it.
I was really interested in sort of the placemaking aspect of it. It's just something to kind of activate the area and kind of spark some curiosity amongst people that are passing by.
As quarantine happened and as we started going to the park ourselves just to ride our bike, we realized how much it was just needed at this time.
We think it was a nice gesture to help give back and sort of bring some joy to folks.
I think something we both really enjoyed in this process was just working so closely with community. Being able to have art as the center of those relationships is really exciting for me.
It's really kind of a catalyst to see what can come next. You know, how can that space be repurposed in the future? Since this is just a temporary installation, we're sort of asking the question of, what do you want, community? What do you want this place to be, and how do you want to celebrate it?
And another artistic endeavor, the Railroad Garden. This place is amazing, so intricate, a true reflection of Colorado history. Now we're going to switch gears. Earlier this year, Lakewood Police partnered with the Foothills Animal Shelter to find the next recruit for their canine unit, and then things went off the rails.
All right, first up is Daisy. Daisy, why don't you tell me about yourself? All right, Daisy, what skills do you bring to the canine program? Daisy? All right, the second test will be seeing how strong Daisy's bite is. We're wearing the bite suit for safety. Daisy? Daisy, come here, girl. Get a hold of that. Come on, get it. Next. All right, Tanner, you're up. Over here, big guy. Tanner, there will be, of course, a background check and a physical agility test. You ready for that? Okay. Tanner, come here. Come get me. Come get me. Oh, oh, oh. Tanner, you're not biting. I don't think Tanner's gonna make it. Good boy. You're a very good boy. Next. Too nice. Too friendly. You just seem like you like to sleep too much and lay around. Maybe you'd be better off with the fire department. And go. Ziggy, I'm getting away. You better catch me. Ziggy, I know you can hear me. Ziggy, you're supposed to.
Okay, Rob, I think you're gonna love this next candidate. Independent, clever, cat-like reflexes, and can really fit into those little tiny nooks and crannies.
Liz, that sounds great. I can't wait to meet this candidate.
Okay, here we are.
Great. Are we talking about a cat?
We might be.
Liz, it's the canine unit, not the feline unit. Are you kidding me?
Okay, this last candidate, a little bit out of the box, but I've got some high hopes. They're gonna be great.
Okay, well, let's see how this candidate does in the last test, which is gonna be exiting a patrol car and running down a suspect.
Great.
And go. Well, Liz, we may not have found any animals that are going to be a good fit for our canine program. They're just all too sweet. But there's no reason why you can't come down and find your own little canine for your home. Stop on by the shelter or visit their website at foothillsanimalshelter.org to see who's available.
A huge thank you to the Colorado Railroad Museum for having us, and to all the great people who are working so hard to make our lives better. We hope you stay safe and well, and we're going to see you next time on Connected Colorado. Colorado is getting back on track. We'll take a look at some great people and programs making a difference. Plus, we'll take a look at some nostalgia for the past and have fun with adoptable pets on the next edition of Connected Colorado.